And there have been growing concerns over how social media platforms promote certain candidates. Now we're learning about how the 2020 campaigns may be affecting your email. According to a new study released by The Markup, roughly 11% of political emails are actually delivered to Gmail users' inboxes. Almost 50% of messages were sorted into the promotions tab, which is used for, quote, deals, offers, and other marketing emails. The remaining 40% were sent to spam. A new article titled "Swinging the Vote" explores Google's algorithm and its effect on political emails. Adrienne Jeffries co-wrote that piece. She's an investigative reporter at The Markup and joins me now. Hi, Adrienne. So how did you decide to launch this investigation? It's actually really interesting. And what did you have to do to obtain this information?
So we launched the investigation because we were approached by some political advocacy groups that had seen a drop-off in how many users were reading their emails, specifically how many Gmail subscribers were reading their emails. And some of these groups have a lot of their subscribers are on Gmail, like 50% of their list is Gmail. That's common. So this was a big concern for them. This is how they fundraise. This is how they talk to their supporters. And they were really worried. So they sent us some data. My colleagues on this story, Leon Yin and Surya Matu, analyzed their email data and found that there was a big drop-off, but we didn't know why. The groups had this theory that maybe the reason that they were seeing less engagement on their email was because of this tab that Gmail enables by default called promotions. It's not quite spam, but it does collect a lot of that similar kind of mass email that is a lot of marketing, a lot of offers. And apparently it was also getting a lot of political email too. So we set up this Gmail inbox. We wanted to see how political mail was treated. So we signed up for over 200 political mailing lists. That includes candidates in House races, the presidential candidates, advocacy groups from across the spectrum. And then we just measured for 4 months to see where all their emails went. We didn't open any of the emails. We just watched to see what Gmail would do, absent any kind of interaction from us.
So interesting. So then, according to the data you collected, Pete Buttigieg leads the current Democratic candidates in having his campaign emails actually get through the gauntlet to the Gmail users' primary inboxes. So when you dug a little deeper, did you find that there was something nefarious about all this, or did it just come down to irregular algorithms?
I wouldn't say there was anything nefarious about it. I would just say this is another algorithmic hurdle that people who want to talk to their supporters through platforms such as social media or email have to go through. I think we're pretty familiar with the idea that you post something on Facebook and not all of your followers are going to see it because the algorithm decides what's most important to show. And I think people think less about that effect happening with email. But because the inbox is sort of increasingly curated by algorithms, especially with Gmail, which is the market leader in email, we're seeing some of those same kinds of platform mediation effects with email, too.
So what then specifically is to account for the fact that a Pete Buttigieg campaign email might get to my inbox when an Amy Klobuchar email will go to promotions?
Right. We were not able to figure that out in this study. Gmail says that it categorizes emails based on the content of the email and also other factors like how other users interacted with the emails. So, for example, if Pete Buttigieg's supporters are opening and engaging with all his emails, that might be why some of it's going into primary, versus if users are engaging less with another candidate, maybe that's why they ended up at promotions. But Gmail's not super transparent about how this works. You know, it's like similar to
right. But so that's what I was going to say. Is there a danger then to just taking Google's word for it?
So because of Gmail's market share, it can have a big impact when it decides to put your email in some place that your supporters might be less likely to see it. It also means you may end up scrambling if Gmail changes something, as appeared to maybe have happened with some of the groups that we spoke to, where they saw their email suddenly kind of drop off a cliff.
Right.
It shows that some of these platform effects that we've been familiar with seeing in other places are also being seen on Gmail.
Right. So interesting. So obviously this will have implications for the amount of money a candidate can raise, correct? And how are campaigns dealing with this moving forward?
I think that's the most important effect, is how much money they can raise. It also means for advocacy groups, it can mean reduced petition signatures. It can mean it's harder for you to get people to come out to events and just to communicate with your supporters in general. We found that actually the presidential candidates were the least concerned about this. They have kind of the most well-resourced email operations to figure this out and try to figure out what it is that Gmail wants from them. But some of the smaller organizations, some of the advocacy organizations, they were a lot more concerned about this. And they were really concerned about being placed in this promotions folder, which sounds like it's for commercial email and not for political causes.
So interesting. It sounds like, once again, social media has the upper hand in the American democratic process here. All right. Adria Jeffries, thank you so much for telling us about your efforts to dig deep into this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.